Righto, got some cutting to do, but before I do that, I didn't clean up my saw after the last time I did some cutting. So dress the bar, sharpen the chain, and take the plastics off. You see how filthy that saw is, and it's always good to look after your saw, like clean wise. That didn't make sense, but anyway, yeah, so we're going to take this down. Basically, bar and chain comes off with these two, you know that, back, loosen them back to screw off a bit, comes off. Take the cover off, take the screws out. Let's quick look. Supposed to do this with a flathead screwdriver. Didn't have one close enough. Yes, I did. Take the air filter off because, hang on. Air filter's off. That exposes all this. You should see that. I think these top plastics will just be that screw, and that screw. This should come off and come back, exposing all of this, and the side cover should just be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so let's get this apart and go from there. Second video will be assessment on the Boss. I suspect some straight fuel's been run through it. Always run your own fuel or check the fuel that you've been given. So that will be the second video I do today. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. Let's get this apart. Yeah, 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. Exposing that so everything's still hooked up. So there's an idea for you. Very easy to take off. It's always good practice to put the nuts and bolts back where they came from, so that you know where they belong and you don't lose them. Using a H4 Allen key, I'll undo the bolts for the starter cover and look inside. I expect to see a lot of grime inside, so yeah, that's my next task. The H4 is a nice snug fit, so I shouldn't round those bolt heads. Well, the starter's off. This came out without unplugging any wires. It's just a tight fit for those about to do this job themselves. I got this side out first and then pulled that out. One bolt was very tightly snug in there, so I left it. That was a bolt for the chain brake, but the rest were simple, so put them back in. Yeah, and I could plug that up and actually go ahead and put this in the parts washer. I could actually leave all this in one piece and take that to the parts washer and clean it as is. If I get any degreaser in there, that's not a problem, because all I do, I put some 2-stroke fuel in there, flood the engine virtually and pull it over several times. Yeah, pull that over several times with the spark plug out, just to any moisture in that, flush it out, and obviously start it once it's all back together and just let it idle, just to warm all that through. So we're going to go ahead and get the air compressors already pumped up. I've got my cans of degreaser, that can, and a couple more cans if need be. Now with clean plastics, we can go onto the actual engine itself and give it a good clean. So this would be it before the clean. Yep, pretty filthy. I'm going to pull that spark plug out too and grease the threads. You don't hear of that too much, but it's good policy. It's actually, you're better off replacing them. And let's just have a look. It should be a let's see, some Ching Chong spark plug. I really should go get a CJ8 for this thing, Champion CJ8, or I think this might be one of them. Oh, I don't know. It's not a bad looking plug, but the plug works fine. But let's clean it, shall we? One thing I did notice, there's your oil pump screw to adjust the oil pump, I dare say. Don't quote me on that one. Yeah, that would be. There's your model number, SX82 16050701555. Not sure if they all have that one on it, but mine sure does. So if you're looking, that's where that part number is, or that model number. Yeah, nearly done. Now I got the degreaser all the way through it. Shit everywhere. But I did have the piston at the very top, so any liquid that got in the carby only got to the piston, didn't go into the crankcase. I'll flush that out. Don't matter. I've already accidentally filled the motor with bloody this stuff, which is the water-based degreaser. Clean out with the that stuff. Yeah, you can't really go wrong. You know, spark plug out, flush it out with clean fuel, and go from there. So I'll continue on, and we'll go on to putting this back together once we get the bar and the chain sharpened. Press the bar, sharpen the chain, not sharpen the bar, for those who might get confused. Well, I've cleaned the spark plug. I will get I think NKG's are the better ones to go for. But I'm going to put some grease on those threads and put it back in. Now I've pulled the decompression valve out too. This is all it is. It is a different size. It's smaller than the spark plug. I lost a little plastic handle that goes on there, but all it is a valve. And I'm just looking at this because it comes all the way out too. It's easy. It's a valve and the seat, and I'll just get the focus. I reckon if you ever needed to, or felt the need to, you could lap that using valve grinding paste. Probably just the fine stuff. Looks like it hasn't needed it, but you could do it. If you ever felt low compression, you could, like a 4-stroke, check this valve to see if it's leaking. Like that, like various engines out there. And that's where the, obviously, the stuff comes out, and once it pops, it closes shut. But inside, you've got these little balls with springs on them, spring-loaded balls. You see, this has got a little clip. That's why when you push this in, and then it pops, when it fires and it pops back out, it'll either sit in those or sit out of them. I can't remember. Hang on, I'll just that's sitting on those balls. That's open. Yeah, so that's all it is. But you can get new ones. Genuine Husqvarna is what I'd recommend. Go to the shop, like everything else. Buy a Husky one. I might actually do that. And yeah, so I'll grease those threads, grease the threads to the spark plug, and yeah, throw him back together. Quick tip, when putting this back on, you do have the locating pins, which is handy. That's your spark plug wire, which goes behind the earth wire, which earths the coil, which stops it. Put it in this bottom groove and like locate with your finger, and then go along with the screwdriver. You're not going to do it with your finger, it won't work. Yeah, work that in carefully, because the idea is not to get anything into the flywheel. Well, don't get the wires, you don't want them to find their way in there, especially if you're either pulling the string or whatnot. So that's that, and then the pull start just goes over the top. You pull a string to locate it onto the starter, making sure to line that hole up. You probably want the chainsaw standing up for this. So yeah, just a matter of get the starter on and pull a string until it sits into place, and then just line your bolts up, get the Allen key and put them back together using the crisscross pattern to do the bolts up so it's nice and even. Right, now at this stage you could start the saw because you have choke. For those wondering, actually, I'm going to show you. You notice when you start these things, you pull the choke out, bump. I'm trying to block the light out here. You pull the choke, bump, push the choke back in, and when you start it, it's got partial throttle before you click it off. I'll show you that motion again. Okay, so there's the throttle. Let's try and get a better view of it down here. You've got the throttle, you pull the choke, it pulls that up and holds it partially open. See that? The throttle sits way down there. That pulls it up and holds it back there. When you push the choke butterfly in, because you see when they pull that up, that's your butterfly. It's pulled that black spring-loaded part up. So that's opened the throttle partially and closed off the butterfly. Bump, you push that open. Suddenly you've got no choke, but you still have the throttle partially open, and the engine's partially flooded from, because it'll bump and then stop. It's flooded. That's what you're actually doing, is unflooding the engine by having a partial throttle and having the butterfly open. And once it starts, as soon as you pull on the string, like as soon as you pull the trigger, it opens the throttle further. I'll just focus that in. It opens the throttle past where that thing can hang on to, returning it back to its original position. Then you've got your throttle as per normal. I thought I'd show you that because when I was a kid using chainsaws, I didn't really know why it did that. For some of you who don't know, that's what's going on. So I could start that just to make sure everything's good. If you're this far into the motor, it's good to make sure that everything's fine. Otherwise, if you've done something, you're just going to have to tear it all apart again. So I'll go out there and make sure it's all good. I always do that. And then we'll put the covers back on, and I actually have a lot of wood to cut, so yeah, this will end up filthy again. But why do we shower? Get clean. Same with these, you got to look after them. Clean fins, as you know, keeps the engine cool. Righto, so I'll go start that, put it back together, and yeah, go from there. My battery's about to die, so I'm putting the saw back together. You know how it goes. Engine works fine, nice and clean. I gotta go because it's about to die. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, leave a comment, whatever you want to ask or comment. Yeah, it's good hearing from you. Oh well, thanks for watching.